and that's why it was a little.
Okay. We're recording.
Good evening. My name is Mary Maslowski. I'm the chair of the Harwich Historic District and Historical Commission. I'd like to call to order the meeting of June 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m. We are holding this meeting at Town Hall at 732 Main Street in the small hearing room. For the record, this is a day later than our normal date because of the Juneteenth holiday yesterday on Wednesday. So before we start the meeting, I would like to just announce the recording notice that if anyone intends to record the meeting, they must notify the chair. Being that there is no one in attendance at our meeting quite yet, I am going to assume that nobody is recording the meeting outside of Channel 18. Before we get started, I would like to just take a moment as chair to clarify some misstatements that were made in the newspaper last week. There was an editorial in the newspaper, the headline of, not an editorial, I'm sorry, it was a opinion letter in the Chronicle last week, which had the headline that me being the chair of the Historic District and Historical Commission should recuse myself from an application. And there were a number of statements in the opinion letter that were untrue. I would thank the Chronicle for correcting the ones that they knew about. First and foremost, for the record, I am not currently a paid employee for the town of Harwich and have not been since September of 2020. The letter wrongfully stated that I was, and used that as a basis for stating that I should recuse myself from a matter that is actually not even a matter that's currently before us. For the record, the opinion letter was about a potential sidewalk project in front of Brooks Free Library here in Harwich Center, relating to some brick sidewalks that have buckled due to some large trees. While I do believe that application should come before this HDHC before it's completed, there is no application before us. So first and foremost, there's no application before us that I should recuse myself from, nor do I believe I have any conflicts in that regard anyway. For those of you watching, I just want to clarify some facts about those of us that volunteer on committees. Each of us, before we serve for the town of Harwich, are required to take an oath. In taking that oath, we swear to uphold the laws of the town of Harwich, the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the laws of the Constitution of the United States of America. In addition to that oath, which I swear for each and every commission and committee that I sit on here in the town of Harwich, I am a member of the bar, and I do also, again, have sworn to uphold the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the laws of the Constitution of the United States of America. I take those oaths very seriously, which is why the statements in the newspaper, which presupposed that I would violate any of those oaths and those laws, was very upsetting to me, so I wanted to take this opportunity to clear that up. For the record, two of the laws that are implicated in those oaths are the Commonwealth's Conflict of Interest Law and the Commonwealth's Open Meeting Law. So first and foremost, as far as the Conflict of Interest Law goes, as I've stated, we do not have an application currently before us regarding the sidewalk. That being said, if one does come before us, I see no even suggestion of a conflict that would require me to recuse myself. But I would like to assure the public that each of us sitting on this board, before any matter comes before us, takes a moment to review them and to make sure that we don't have any conflicts. I certainly have no financial interest, nor do I have any family interest in a project potentially being done on that sidewalk. However, when an application comes in, we look at them at face value and would make that determination at that time. And I can assure you that members of this committee and myself have at any number of occasions recused ourselves, even when there's an appearance of a conflict of interest, regardless of whether there's an actual conflict of interest, in order to ensure that we are fully complying with the state conflict of interest law. In addition, the second matter that was triggered by the opinion letter that was posted in the newspaper is the open meeting law, which, again, as a chair of this board, I take very seriously. Members of public committees, as quasi-public employees, we cannot, without violating the open meeting law, we cannot comment on matters before us or that might come before us without actually doing so at a public meeting that is duly and lawfully posted in accordance with the open meeting law. That means it must be posted 48 hours in advance of our meeting, and it must be an agended item unless there is some extreme circumstance that the chair believes can waive that 48-hour requirement. It's not the instance here. So I'm taking this opportunity to, as the only opportunity I have to clear up those falsehoods, both for myself and for the committee, and so that the general public can understand that some of the statements and presuppositions made in that opinion letter were false, and unfortunately there are times when people have personal agendas and they might conflict with our duties on a board or commission. And I just wanted to assure the public that we take our oaths very seriously, and we'll look at every matter as it comes before us. But all of that being said, I thank you for the indulgence to my committee members for letting me make that statement. And then we don't appear to have anybody here for the public hearing, so we'll jump over that first and start with the approval of the meeting minutes from April 24th, 2024. Did anyone have any comments about those minutes?
I move we accept the committee minutes from April 24th, 2024.
I'll second.
All right, motion's been made by Bob, seconded by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. I don't believe that we actually have any new business before us currently. Do we want to go to updates from members? Bob, do you want to start?
Yeah, do we want to combine that with the correspondence from Miranda?
Sure. So why don't we start by saying you should have all received in your packet 2 letters from Matt Sutphin. Again, as I stated, he is also the author of the opinion letter that made it into the newspaper that I strongly disagreed with. I just want to call to your attention that you do have those 2 letters. They should be in your packet. And as we said, there is nothing before us currently on this matter. So if and when it comes up, we can address those further then. And then the other matter is, if you want to do the correspondence with Miranda. Bob, do you want to address that with us?
Yeah, and let me read her correspondence.
Sure.
So from Miranda D. has attached the following document. Hi, Rachel. As I mentioned on the phone, I have been contacted by Tracy Marquise to ask why there was no building history on the individual markers forms in my 2016 report identifying historic building clusters in Harwich. I have also seen in a HD meeting record an assertion or comment that I did not provide building inventories. I would greatly appreciate that this document be shared and discussed at the public meeting. This methodology reflects the project design that Bob Bradley, David Spitz, and I created. My 4-volume work product was intended to be the first phase of 2 phases of projected document and preserve the village character of Harwich. Hopefully, when this is read by all members, it'll become more clear. If there's still lack of clarity, I continue to live in Harwich and am accessible by phone, letter, or email. Sincerely, Miranda Dupuy. So that is in conjunction with the project that we're working on to further develop her inventory that she did. There certainly was no indication or intention that she was anything amiss by not doing the inventory or doing the historical narrative on the forms called Macris Form B. And that was outlined in the methodology that that we have, that is part of the 4-volume book, as well as all the clusters of the work that she did. So right now, we are trying to add historical narrative to parts of the thing. We can't do all of them because of the cost, but to do a couple of the Harwich and Harwich report anyways, so that we can actually enter some of those properties in the Macris database. Currently, they will not be accepted because they don't have the historical narrative. So we have been working on that with the consultant that we hired, that mentioned Tracy Marquise and Marquise Architecture. The issue that we have come up with it is that the original files, we do not have the source documents, only the PDF form. And in order to complete the record or the forms to add the historical, they have to be converted back into Word, and then that Word has to go to the Massachusetts Historical Committee, Society, which can't be in the PDF format what it is now. So we've attempted to convert it with only limited success, but more importantly, we are currently working to find the original files, which should be available in the source documents, and then we can proceed from there. If we do not get the source documents, it does require us to redo all the forms and add the information, which would probably greatly reduce the number of properties that we can do. So we are looking into that right now with our consultant on what the number would be, the reduction number. So that's what we're working right now. Hopefully we can find the source documents, the original Word documents, and go from there. Also, it turns out that the photographs, you actually have to submit photographs differently now. It used to be part of the form. Now it has to be a separate high-resolution photograph. So the existing ones that were there are no longer qualified. Now, there is some exceptions to that, and our consultant is working with the Massachusetts Commission to see what can be done, because even though they have very strict guidelines, they do understand towns have done previous work, and they don't want to say, well, you have to do it all over again. So we're working on that currently, but the project has been delayed about a month at this point because of that.
So unfortunately, with the state archives as well, they tell us how we're supposed to give them even any of our documents, and how we're
Right.
supposed to store them electronically, and what size they need to be in, and what format they
Exactly.
need to be on. And so unfortunately, we're dealing with the difference in 8 years
Right.
that has,
Right.
certainly handcuffed us.
Right.
I wasn't on the board, I didn't have the pleasure of being on the board when the original inventory was, had gone through the RFP process. So, and I do know that there was, just from past information, that there was one person that had started to do the work and then had
That's correct.
to bow out, and then Miranda had taken it over. Am I wrong though, Bob? She did start Form Bs on
Oh, no.
on all of these?
All the properties have Form B in the architecture is all
They just don't
complete.
they just don't have the
wasn't
historical
narrative.
They didn't have the
Which does,
historical
it's a
narrative.
different layer of research.
It is.
That's what we're trying to
It
fill
is.
in, the historical narrative.
And that's unfortunately part of what we've run into with the 2016 list, is because that narrative really wasn't done.
And it wasn't contracted.
And understand that, but because it wasn't done, that's why we also have had properties that we've had to remove from the list, like the one on School Street, which is
Yeah.
always the one that comes to mind. It looks like it was,
Right.
it looks like it was a 1915 house, but it really wasn't. So that being said, I guess we continue to try and see if we can find that flash drive in the building department. I did reach out to administration to just inquire.
Yes.
And I don't know that I've seen a follow-up.
Yes, they did respond.
Did I? Okay.
And said that they were
Looking for
searching,
it.
that they
Okay.
actually asked the person who was in charge at the time, or who was the
Gotcha.
administrative assistant, and
Gotcha.
directed them to where it should be.
Perfect.
So there is a
Perfect.
chance that it's there.
Well, I hope we do find it, because I do recall seeing it and having it and
Yes.
it being turned over. And I will say to that end that my inbox probably looks as bad as it does with the number of emails that come in, and I do miss things along the way. So, all right, that being said, we'll, I don't think another month or two is going to make a huge
No.
difference for us at this point. And you did report
Yeah.
what we were doing to CPC, so they were fully supportive
Right.
of the choice
And
that we had
will
made.
need to bring this back to them if it's going to change from what
We
we
will.
expected.
And perhaps it means that we ask for more money this fall. I guess that would be something that we should
Right.
consider as a second
Absolutely.
request.
Do we have money enough? Do we have a budget?
Yeah,
We can know.
the 37,000 was allocated.
But clearly, it's not going to.
Not do what needs to be done
Right.
according to the,
Right, and it wasn't going to do the whole town anyway.
No.
And I think CPC was okay when we said we were going to get a majority of the properties with Harwich Port and Harwich Center.
yeah.
But now, if we don't find those original documents that can more easily be updated, I think it's a different story.
The alternative is that we could be very selective and really choose the houses that we think are more appropriate to get on MACRIS. Because some, have been altered so much that, and they don't necessarily have a history of somebody, an architect or
Right.
a townsperson that was notable in it. And, maybe not put those in the MACRIS database.
Yeah.
Don't need to.
So, I think maybe for the next meeting, we should agenda the
Yes.
discussion of this again, and the possibility of seeking additional CPC money.
Right.
I don't know, what that would do to our procurement process or not, but perhaps we'd be able to go out with a second round,
Yeah.
that being the case. So, if Rachel could do that for us and include, I guess, keep this on the agenda for next time,
Yeah.
that would be great. And like Bob said, we kind of knew that the deed research and that real history wasn't necessarily there for everything. So, unfortunately, in a perfect world, it'd be nice to just be able to update, but I guess that's not going to happen. So we still don't have anyone here for the Royal Apartments. So we are approaching, we're at 6:33. So I would suggest that we open and continue this to our next meeting, so that we don't have to re-advertise, and they can communicate with us one way or another. So if I am looking at this correctly, July 18th is our next, July 17th is our next meeting. Thank you. The third Wednesday. So Chair would entertain a motion. So let me first open it. We'll open the public hearing of HH 2024-07. It's the Royal Apartments LLC owner, through their agent, Mark Bogosian, has filed a certificate of appropriateness. The project proposes alterations to replacing roofing, doors, and a chimney. The structure is over 100 years old, and according to the state and town assessing records, is located in the Harwich Historical District at 328 Bank Street, map 41, parcel N4. So at this time, with no representatives here, I would entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to Wednesday, July 17th, no earlier than 6 p.m. Do I have a
I'll make
motion?
that motion.
So Bob's made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Brendan seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That Hearing any opposition, hearing none, motion carries 4-0. So that matter is postponed until our next meeting, next month. The only other item that I would say is it does sound like from an email that we received from Barbara Nickerson that they have made progress in purchasing the building on the house on Route 28 in South Harwich next to the old Zudi building. So they are currently looking into what they need to do to move it, whether they have to deconstruct and reconstruct. So that being said, I had apparently missed an email in my inbox and have communicated back with her. And thank you, Bob, for forwarding that as well. So they will reach out to us and let us know. So it may be a situation where we will be in a position to waive the remaining
Correct.
demo delay timeframe. So we will hopefully have an update for the next meeting. Does anybody have anything that they want on the next agenda? Okay, hopefully we have Bob's update and we have Royal Apartments. So the chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
This is my last meeting.
Oh,
You knew that.
oh, yes, I did know that. Oh, that makes me sad.
My term expired.
I forgot that. I was trying to ignore it, I guess.
And you're not,
I didn't renew.
oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry to see you go.
Me too.
I
I was hoping you were going to forget.
You always second everything.
know.
So I will say thank you for
Yeah, thank you.
for being so kind as to coming on when I begged and pleaded.
Yes. So here's mine. I don't know who wants this.
Oh, I love that.
Ooh, that's a good one. You sure?
It's the town's, it's not
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very much.
Come and visit us anytime you like.
Yeah.
You know, if you ever, well, I can't because I'm not on the committee, I'm not sworn in, so after today, but
Well, you know, anytime you change your mind, you want to come back on.
I know where you're going.
We do have alternates.
I was just going to suggest that.
We do have alternates. That is always a possibility if you so choose to come back part-time. You can always, consider
I was an
that.
alternate for you, yes.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll let them know.
Awesome.
So, okay, now I'm sad.
dear.
Thank you. So we won't have Julie to push around anymore. Show up and help us. Seriously, though, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on the board,
That's fine.
as always.
A lot.
Anytime, as I said, anytime. Come back.
Do I have to apply to be an alternate? Is that what you need?
I don't know, we'll put your name forward. We'll let the members of the interview committee know
There you go.
that maybe we can just appoint you as an alternate and go from there.
There we go.
Okay.
You know how to get in touch with me.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to say? And I should have cut Julie off before she said it. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Someone.
Second.
There you go. Boom.
This has been made by Bob, seconded by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none in opposition, we are adjourned.